girly, you are not a failure for literally needing money to survive. But low-key, it took me 5 months to realize that. I'm gonna share with you what actually happened when I stepped away from writing music and performing, not because I lost the dream, not at all, but because I had to make some hard choices. And surprisingly, it actually gave me a lot more clarity than chaos. Okay, well, it's been a while since I've been back on this YouTube channel and have been back in the studio writing music, and I'm actually acting again, and it's all fun and all amazing. But it required a break, guys. It's very uncomfortable to talk about the breaks. I feel like when we're in this hustle mode, especially as artists, it's like we want to keep going. And for anybody who is not going, it's like, well, if we're going, then we're either learning or we're taking action or we're moving forward. And if we're not, then we're getting behind or we're stagnating. And then we see people on social media and they're going forward and we're like, wait, we are failing. There's just this whole narrative that we tell ourselves for whatever reason. So let's talk about it, because I did this. Also, welcome back to Violet Gaze. So excited you're here. I am Kira, your artist bestie, here to cozy chat with you about what it's like to really be an artist, like really be an artist. You can come for the abundance tips, for manifesting your dreams, and for permission to be super messy, and stay for the forever friend and creativity. Feel free to hit subscribe if you vibe. Oh my gosh, I love that. Someone's definitely said it before me. So why I took a break. It's really because I wasn't getting tired of like performing or writing music. I just needed a step back. Financial survival, nervous system burnout, needing to reassess. Finances are a thing. We need finances to live. And at the beginning of the year, so I'll just give you a background. So when I started this channel, I was editing these videos by myself. It was a lot, but you know, when you don't have the budget to do things on your own, you're gonna do it yourself. And that goes for being an artist as well. Like when you don't have the budget to, say, as an actor, have an agent, then you're going to do it yourself. When you don't have the budget to have somebody help you get opportunities, like a PR person, you're gonna be doing that yourself. So that's exactly what I was doing. When I talk about having a cozy girl job, which you can find in my description, I have links to talking about having a cozy girl job. It's the concept that like you don't need to be starving to be an artist. You don't need to have a minimum wage job in order to live your dreams. You can be an abundant artist. And when I've talked to you guys about having a cozy girl job before, I've always talked about freelancing or even having a full-time job, but making it really, really sustainable. Gabrielle Judge coined the term lazy girl job. And that's kind of where I got the inspiration for cozy girl job, is this concept of like, you're either in a full-time job making consistent income, but you're doing the work and you're clocking out at 5 and then working on yourself and working on your own creativity, or you learn how to become a freelancer and you're able to then charge higher prices and scale out some of your offerings. So I was doing this for a while, but what I realized is that I was kind of onto the next level, right? I was always working as a freelancer for other people, but in order to really get to the next financial level, I need to really like have this business. And because I've worked in marketing for a while, it was branding and content. I want you to know that it is okay to start a business if you are an artist, and a business that's not necessarily just the business of being an artist, right? Like there's Kira Violet, there's me, there's the performer, the vocalist, but then I have Studio Violet, which is my own branding and content business. And then there's Violet Gaze, which is this business. And so the concept of like, you're allowed to start another business outside of that is very real. I could see that as, oh my gosh, I'm not focusing a lot on my artistry, and family members and friends who don't really know what it's like to be a creative will kind of ask about that and be like, well, whatever happened to singing and whatever happened to this? And so just know that when you're asked things like this, it's not a reflection of your process. Like, you are not failing. Other people just don't understand what's going on. Totally fine. They're in a different industry. Love that for them. You can be secure in knowing that you are perfectly fine. You don't have to worry that this is not backwards movement. You are on a completely different journey than other people where you see them doing forward movement. They might not be doing forward movement like you think. This is all still forward movement. Having financial abundance is forward moving. Think about all of the things that you can do as an artist with the financial abundance. So, if you have an Etsy shop, you can hire a VA to help you put up Etsy listings and do customer support and all of these amazing things. Even as a freelancer or a business owner, being able to scale out some of your operations so you can make money, but other people are doing the work. So this concept of like, if you're not constantly performing 24/7, you're a failure or you're like going behind I just want to tell you, like, I'm in that zone right now. I could have been waking up the past few months thinking I'm a failure every day, but I know that this is all serving a purpose. So if you were embarking on other adventures and journeys, just ask yourself, like, is this contributing to the greater purpose? And if it is, then you have nothing to worry about, right? Finances, that's a greater purpose as an artist. Building a business, that's a greater purpose as an artist. Finding a house, that's a greater purpose as an artist. Finding a job that's outside of being an artist, that's a bigger purpose. Chasing money is a big part of it. It's like a very jarring YouTube title, but the people like it, so that's what I will give the people. But another big part of this behind taking a break in general to get financial abundance was also because I needed to really reevaluate the type of music that I wanted to create. This is something that you can think about when you're embarking on different creative styles. If you're still trying to find your creative style, like I have been months in just mood boarding different vibes and writing down adjectives. Like Static gave me this whole questionnaire about what kind of drum sounds do I like? What kind of storytelling do I like? What kind of lyrics do I like? What kind of chord progressions do I like? And it was crazy because the music that I was writing was very like angry, it was very rock, it was very hard, but I found myself through Violet Gaze, through the interactions I have every single day, I'm not that though. Like I don't want to go on stage and bring anger. I want to bring friendship and hope and joy. And that doesn't mean that the music doesn't have to be deep, but there was this whole self-exploration piece of it. And that's also a benefit of taking a break. If you feel like you're in this break period, I remember in acting class, my acting teacher, Jennifer, at the William Esper Studio, we were in between first and second year, and so there's a summer break in between it, and she said, my students have found that their biggest transformations actually haven't happened during class, like in between each week, but on that long several month break. And that's exactly what happened when I took a break too. So in this venture of finding financial abundance and building this business, I was also really taking a step back, and I told myself, I'm not gonna write music for a while. I am taking a break. I am reevaluating what I want. I am building up something else, and I just need time. I just need space. And boy, oh boy, did that help. If you are in a phase of taking a break, if you're in a phase of, oh my gosh, I have to explain to people that I haven't given up my dreams, or I have to explain to myself that I haven't given up my dreams, it is all part of the process. I know that you're not giving up your dreams. And just knowing that there's one other person out there can really help. At least it can help for me. We can't do any of this without having at least one bestie who understands us. I try not to use the word and phrasing of money in my content because there is a lot of content out there that talks about how to make money in $5,000 in 5 days. And I'm just not that type of girly. I don't know if you're that type of girly either. That's why I say financial abundance, because again, the thing about it is that I think a lot of artists feel guilty for wanting to make money. If we were asked what our goals were, I bet so many of us would be like, I want to be on this TV show, or I want to have an art gallery, or I want my Etsy shop to be full-time. We wouldn't talk about money, and that's totally great and fine because we absolutely love what we do, and not everybody in the world can say that, unfortunately. But we feel this feeling of guilt of we want to make art and money, but we feel guilty for wanting both. We feel guilty for wanting money because I don't want to be obsessed with money. And that's a whole big mindset shift that I've been in right now. If I'm giving up my creativity and my artistry, taking this break, then that means, am I obsessing over money? And then throughout this whole time too, with my content and branding studio, as I talk with clients, I feel so self-conscious being like, this is multiple thousands of dollars, and being okay with that. Even though I have spent multiple thousands of dollars on programs to help grow my business. It's just this really crazy thing. I think that as creatives, we have such a hard time negotiating and really seeing ourselves for what we're worth. And that's something that I have really been understanding and growing throughout this time. We're used to doing hourly work, and we're used to saying, well, you know, it's $15 an hour, or the salary is X amount per year. And then you kind of break it down. You're like, okay, I'm getting paid like this much per hour. The first step to really understand your worth as an artist, as a business owner, as a human being, is to understand that your value is not connected to your time. Even though it might say that on the timesheets, even though people might ask what your hourly rate is, that is the norm, and we are not the norm. We are creatives. Your value is based on the money that you've spent on training and education and programs, the time you've used to hone these crafts. So like the hours and hours and hours you've spent getting good at this, like the time that you've spent in your studio not getting paid, the time that you've spent sitting in front of the TV but also doodling on your iPad, that is all something worth getting paid for. If we are worried so much about money, we physically can't be our best artists. Like if we're saying, okay, I don't want to be obsessed with money, right? I just want to be an artist. But then we're like, but when is my paycheck going to come? How am I going to pay rent? How am I going to pay this? Oh, I can't go out and hang out with my friend because I can't afford $15 because I need that $15 to be put towards this. That is going to kill your creativity. That's going to kill anyone's creativity. I've been there. You think that it's not related. You think that there's creativity and that there's finances, but it is like an infinity sign where it just loops into each other. If you are financially anxious, you are going to be creatively anxious. So that's also another reason, circling back to this whole thing, like that's also another reason why I took a break, and why if you feel like you're in a space where you need to take a break, it is perfectly fine to do so. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being like, hey, I'm gonna set up my financial future so that I can enjoy paying for classes, paying for programs, going to travel to do my art. Like people who want to, you know, tattoo artists who want to do tours across different countries. Like imagine being able to do that with your creativity, not having to worry about money. That's the value of time off. And again, that's not something that other people, your family, your friends who aren't in this are gonna see. They're just gonna see the surface. It's just like social media, it's just like content. All it is a surface. People are just gonna see what's going on the surface level, like what you decide to put out. None of us wanna put out the unsexy stuff of, I don't have $15 to pay my groceries. No one's going to want to put that anywhere. Of course, we're not seeing other people do it. And also the majority of other people that are in our lives are probably not artists. And because they're not artists, they're also probably not business owners, because every artist is a business owner. Really using my experience to try to show you that if you want to focus on financial abundance, if you need to take a break, you can. Creativity needs room to be messy, and like finances is one thing that can't be messy. So if you have messy finances, you're not gonna have permission to be messy in creativity. You're not gonna have permission to be like, oh my gosh, let me buy this new paint set because I want to try this crazy new thing. Your nervous system is literally going to be dysregulated because you don't know if you can afford the food on your plate or the clothes on your back or the house under your feet. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you don't think that you have any of that, there is no possible way that you're going to be able to actually achieve your dreams. Another point to this also, trying to prove your worth through output is going to poison your process. So back to this whole concept of trying to show people, look how busy I am, look how much I'm creating, look how successful I am. That, as much as other people might then come up to you and be like, wow, you're busy, wow, you're successful, is that really moving the needle forward? Genuinely, you need to ask yourself, is that actually moving the needle forward? Because likely, if you're just performing for others, you're focusing on something so outside of the process already that it's just going to spoil everything. And again, I'm saying all of this because I've been there. I'm saying all this to my past self who looks at other artists. I look at my past classmates from JMU and from the Esper Studio, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, they're achieving this, they're achieving that. I need to also make posts whenever I achieve something so that they then see that I'm also doing something. It's not a conscious thing that was going on in my head, but it was certainly a subconscious thing. And because of that, we're just focusing on output and we're not focusing on the process, which artistry is not always about output. You're not going to get output if you don't have input. And I consider input practice, introspection, self-care, financial abundance, building a community. These are all inputs that other people don't see on the surface, but you literally need, it's the lifeblood of your business. I don't want to talk about blood. You don't see it in people's bodies. You just see people moving around, right? You don't look at someone and you're like, that's the blood. Like you see, hey, that's a human being. But under the surface, we all know that that's what we need in order to survive. Every artist knows that's what we need in order to survive. Even though it's not sexy, it's definitely not sexy, it's creepy for me, it doesn't mean it's not there, okay? I know that it's there, you know that it's there, and that's all we need. That's when you feel like creativity becomes a performance, and not a performance in like the good way that like myself as an actor loves doing. It becomes a performance for everyone else. And again, it kills your creativity. Just like a lack of financial abundance kills your creativity, this also kills your creativity. And then it starts feeling like pressure. And then all of a sudden you're wondering why you hate doing this thing that you literally have always said you wanted to do. And it's because you're doing it for other people. And a big part of it for me too was I had this whole concept, and you might feel this way too if you're a more performative based artist. I felt like I had two personas because I had this aspiration of who I wanted to be. The Kira Violet who is on Violet Gaze and who is the artist, and who everyone knows me as the artist when they think of me. And then there was this other side of me where I had a business and I was using my full name, my full Greek name. That's my business persona. I was finding this balancing act of I can't have the people who are in the business persona think that I don't want to do this work and then see that I'm an artist and then feel like I'm gonna quit one day. And then from this side, I don't want people to find out that I also have a business and find out that I'm this boring person too. So I literally, kid you not, have been having like split personality disorder for the longest time. And this might come to you in your job and your artistry, where you feel like you want people to know you as this one thing. You want people to immediately, your favorite actor, when you think of them, people think of the actor. I think of, Emma Stone's the first person I'm thinking of. Anytime someone says Emma Stone, they're like, oh, that actor. That's how I wanted to feel. I wanted to control how others saw me. It was creating this pressure of, I can't share who I am on both of these platforms. The break was what made me realize when I found this community. I joined this program to help me build this Studio Violet, my content and branding studio that's gonna then help funnel the finances into Violet Gaze and my artistry. I realized I would be on these calls and I would talk about my goals for my YouTube channel or something. And for some reason, I was just expecting the people on these calls to be like, we need to focus on your brand. I don't know why you're focusing on something else, but they didn't do that at all. They were like, okay, so you have this dream and you're also building this business to help fund that dream. Great, how can I help? My mind was just absolutely blown. I don't know am I making sense? Comment down below if I'm making sense. If this is something that's gone on in your brain where you have these two personas and you want to control how people think of you. But I, for some reason, finally realized I'm like, I don't have to split myself. I can literally be anything I want. I can be anything. And I've said this on this channel before, but I've activated an even deeper level for myself to understand this, that you truly can be an accountant and an artist. Who the heck is taking score and tallying? If you've never seen anyone do that, then amazing, you're the first one. I'm so excited for you and I'm so excited for your journey. There has to be a first person who does it, and you're the damn trailblazer. I wanna leave you with this. Sometimes the most artistic thing you can do is build a life that supports your art. And sometimes building a life that supports your art means focusing on building a business, or sometimes that means working full time, or sometimes that means building the financial abundance so that in 5 years you could go on set and never have to worry about calling out, or you can have this gorgeous house that has your art studio in it and helps you manifest all of your dreams. Sometimes the most artistic thing is actually the lifeblood of your artistry, of your business, the thing that no one sees, the thing that's not sexy, but the thing that's letting it flow, keeping it alive, giving it a heartbeat, and supporting you to then be your most creative self. And friend, I am just so excited to see you do this. If you feel like you've been comparing yourself to other creatives and that's actually been slowing down your creative process, then watch the next video, and I really think that's gonna help you see it in a different light. Stay inspired, stay creative, and I'll see you next time. Bye. You get fooled by anyone so easily.